I'm really excited to be able to get my hands on this watch. Today we're taking a look at the AVI-8 Royal British Legion collaboration. So for those of you who may not know who the RBL are, because I certainly didn't, the Royal British Legion is an organization that helps support the British Armed Forces and their families. AVI-8 is actually partnering with them and releasing a couple of watches that are themed for them, and every purchase that you make, a certain portion goes to them. It's a great cause, and honestly the watches are actually really nice. So I actually reached out to them to see if I could get hold of one, and they actually sent me this one, which is model 000 of 1000. Each variant gets 1000 different watches, and I got a hold of one of these, so I'm really excited to look at this. And let's start just with the regular unboxing. So right away, this red thing, and we'll see it throughout the watch, and the packaging is a poppy. It's a red poppy, and this is actually the logo of the Legion, the Royal British Legion. So the packaging itself is actually really bright, really nice to see, and in colors of the organization. So here it is. Here's a booklet, warranty card. Let's go ahead and take a look at this. And also I do want to note this comes with a little pin. That's a super nice touch. I really do like that. So anyway, here we go. I do want to say kind of before I start that I've been a big fan of AVI-8 for a long time. Though I do feel like they may be a victim of their own success, in the sense that they just have so many watches, they release so many of them, that they often get lost in kind of the transition and the release dates. They have so many models that I've looked at, so many models that I've owned, that I've purchased, and they just don't get the attention they deserve, in my opinion, because they're all very well made and, in my opinion, a pretty good value. And this is one of them right here. I will compare it to another one that's over here. But I did want to say that because I do get a lot of questions about the brand. I am generally a pretty big fan of them. It's just they release so many of them, and if that's a criticism, that would be my criticism towards them. They just release too many of them, and they often get lost. So I wanted to kind of bring some attention to this one, just because it's for a good cause, and in my opinion, this might be one of the best designs they've ever released. So here it is. One of the things I love about AVI-8 watch is that their indices are always kind of elevated, and you can see that certainly the 12 o'clock indice there is elevated. It adds a lot to the design, and I also like that they use textured dials, and if I shine the light on it, you'll be able to see it there. Right above the 6 o'clock, you see the little red poppy again. You see it in this onion crown. I love that touch. I love that they keep consistent with the logos of the British Royal Legion, excuse me. So here we see it. This is obviously a dive watch. The bezel does rotate. The design is very kind of toned down, very flight watch themed. And I just love this. One of the biggest things that I liked about it is that enormous dome here. It's very, very big. It kind of looks like a sphere almost. It's kind of hard to capture, but this is not like a regular dome crystal that I've seen before. It's just so bulbous, I guess you can say. Very round, very high, very cool. It's relatively thin. That's actually really thin. It's just that the crystal itself adds a lot of height to it. And the design for me is just perfect. It doesn't go too much. Doesn't get too complicated. It has the touch of red for the organization. It has a logo on there, and I think to me this is just a home run of a design, because as we'll see right now, a lot of the other AVI-8 designs are they're out there, and it's not a bad thing. It's just they're very complicated, and they're very, very complicated, and this one is just so toned down. It's fantastic in my opinion, and I'm really happy to be able to get my hands on it. Another thing I will note is this does use a mecha quartz movement. This is not a automatic or hand winding movement, even though you see the hand kind of sweeping there, which I honestly think is awesome, because I had I was under the impression that mecha movements still ticked. I've had Seiko mecha movements before, and they ticked and they didn't sweep like this. So that's something new for me, and I really do like that and appreciate that. I like that they didn't just stick any quartz movement in here. So they released this model, a couple of variants, and they released a chronograph model. The case diameter here is 40 millimeters, which I think is perfect, because if I do have another criticism about their watches, that they tend to be on the bigger side, and having a small wrist, it kind of pushes me out of that market for a bit. But I like that they toned this down to 40 millimeters. I'm a huge fan of steel bezels, and again, this is just a home run design for me. So we'll do some size comparisons. I brought another AVI-8 that I own, Spitfire chronograph. As you can see, this is just way bigger, and we'll see right now in the thickness too. A lot thicker, and that's because that's even considering the big dome crystal on the limited edition one. As you can see, this design also has that texture dial, the dome, and it has those high indices. Here's a size comparison. Both honestly very good values if you ask me. I also brought out the Hamilton Khaki, just because it's a similar styled watch, though this does have like a field watch and a dive watch kind of vibe going to it. But even at this is at, I believe this is at 37 millimeters. You can see it looks quite similar. And even though this is 40 millimeters, it does wear a little bit smaller because the bezel here takes away from the dial itself. So that even though it's 40 millimeters, the dial sure is a lot smaller than that. Thickness. Both use 20 millimeter straps. Let's take a look at the case spec here. (1921) 2021, that's a nice touch. And you can't see it there, but it does have the number of model you have. So this is 000 out of 1000 with the water resistance of 50 meters. So let's go ahead and take this and check out its lume. So like usual, I'm not in complete darkness, so because I really do want to see how strong this is. Here it is. I've said this many times, I'll say it again. I love it when companies lume every indice. That just adds a lot to the design. And we'll see right now with the khaki, that's not the case with the khaki. Really good, very well applied lume. Nice and strong. Let's bring out the other AVI-8 to compare. Here it is, yeah. AVI-8 always has great lume at great prices. And like I said earlier, it really does surprise me that this company isn't more well known in the watch circles, because the price is always so good for what you get. But it might be just what I mentioned, that they release so many watches so often that they kind of get lost. Let's compare it to the khaki here. See, and this is what I mean. While I do like this khaki lume, like I appreciate it and I think it looks nice, but for this style of watch, I think it would have been much better if every number was lumed. See, and to me, the real kicker here is the price. According to the website on AVI-8, this model here is going to be priced at $150, which to me is very affordable. I honestly think they could have charged $200, $250, and I still would have thought it was a pretty good value. But for what you're getting at $150, that to me is a crazy good price. So tag, and again, the khaki being a regular quartz, not a mecha quartz, I do think I paid closer to $250 for this one. So just in the value area here, this is AVI-8 is actually fantastic. one more time. So let's go ahead and throw this on the wrist and see how that works. Yeah, on the wrist, it definitely wears smaller than most 40mm watches that I own. It's very thin, it kind of gets lost in there in a very good way. It's light, it's not really thick, and that high dome really does pop. That is awesome. The crown really pops too. I love those big onion crowns. The color is really nice too. And honestly, I can't stress enough how much I like this watch. This might be my favorite AVI-8 watch that I've ever owned, and that's saying a lot because I've owned a lot of them. This might be my favorite one, and I really do hope this has a lot of success just because it's for a great cause. It's a great looking watch, it's a great value, and there's really nothing bad I can say about this one.